I don't know what PR move this was for you and ESPN, and let's throw Malika out there because oh my God, Giannis wants to talk to us, and let's send Malika to keep it safe and PC and make him feel good. Man, fuck that. You out here, you got a chance to ask this man some legitimate questions and you just don't ask the questions. And Giannis, stop lying. When you waited till after the trade deadline and then start talking about you're a buck for life, brother, stop, man. You're a competitor and you see the writings on the wall. Yes, you are loyal. I am not going to take away from Giannis. I believe he is truly loyal to the Milwaukee Bucks and he wants to be a buck for life. Wants to be and actually wanting to winning is two different things. Let's get this party started. Dear Legacy, please excuse my balls. All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. You're tuned in to Please Excuse My Balls, brought to you by Dear Legacy Sports. It's your boy, Kevin B. the Brand, and this is episode 13. 13 episodes, guys. And you'll know I'm going to have some rants for you, but it's probably not going to be as much rants because the NFL season's over, and we are officially in NBA mode. Last week we broke down a bunch of the trades that happened in the NBA. With that being said, I will be picking games again. I'll be picking. I'm gonna be introducing my first time rankings, my weekly rankings of. I'm gonna call it the Lucky Seven, since 17's got to get into the NBA playoffs. I'm gonna do 17s rather than doing a top five. So stay tuned for that one. What else we got going on? Gives us a chance to really talk basketball coming out of the All-Star game, which was actually not that bad. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I did not watch all of it, but that's okay. We were dealing with other stuff, I guess. Honestly, I wasn't really, you know, the lust for the All-Star game for me kind of went out, but then when I started seeing the highlights and some of the games, like I was catching some joints on the phone and I was like, oh man, this sounds kind of good. Then I catch a little bit of it, but I wasn't gonna sit here like I sat there and watched every second of the All-Star weekend. Overall, I think it was a successful weekend. You take from it what you want to take from it, to be completely honest, but we'll kind of run through it as we go through here. I'm just loading up because for some reason, all right, I did not put the notes here. So let's jump right into the kickoff. CP3 was waived by the Toronto Raptors after being traded, which we knew was going to happen. We knew once he got traded to the Toronto, he was gonna be released. I assumed that he would try to find his way to a LA team, preferably with his compatriot he's been trying to play with for forever and a year, LeBron James. I could have seen him going back to the Lakers. Obviously, he ain't going back to the Clippers. They're the ones that got rid of him. Actually sent him home midway through the season. But after being released by the Toronto Raptors, he decided to call it quit from the NBA. He officially retired from the NBA. I mean, he had a great career. The numbers don't lie. He is a point guard. Uh, um, you could never take away from CP3's legacy, and not to mention not only just on the court, off the court, what he did for the game of basketball too, and leading the NBA players union. Great career. Wish you would have seen him go out with at least one championship under his belt, but it just never came to fruition for him. Doesn't take away from what he did on and off of the court. Like I said, I think CP3 is by far one of the greatest players to ever grace the court of the court of NBA. But people judge people's careers off of championships, right? Even when you win it, they still downplaying your careers. So, shout out to CP3. Will be missing the game. You can't beat somebody's handle and IQ of the game and his passing. The passing alone was always like by far none. There ain't nobody beating Chris Paul with that type of gameplay. Moving on, let's jump right into the Olympics. The Olympic medal count as stands, top 5 countries. Norway leads the way with 31 total medals, the 14 gold, 8 silver, and 9 bronze. Italy, host Italy, is second on this list with 24 total medals, 9 gold, 4 silver, 11 bronze. And U.S. right behind them at number 3 with 21 total medals, 6 gold, 10 silver, 5 bronze. Germany right behind them, 20 total medals, 5 gold, 8 silver, and 7 bronze medals. Japan rounds out the top 5 with 19 total medals with 4 gold, 5 silver, and 10 bronze. Staying with the Olympic world, the U.S. women to play the Canadian women in the gold medal game tonight. By the time you see this episode, they'll be playing tonight. Well, this afternoon. It'll be 1:10 in the afternoon. They'll be playing. Shout out to the U.S. women. They have gone undefeated in play. It'd be the worst time for them to catch that first loss. They did play Canada already once, and they won 5-0. I believe that final score was. So shout out to the USA women's hockey. The men's hockey is doing pretty good for themselves. Also, they ain't finished group play yet, but they are undefeated as well in their group. That's all I got for you guys for the kickoff. There was a couple other stuff, but I don't feel as though it was kickoff worthy. Some of them got moved into the different segments. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. There is still some news to be said about the King of Sports because it is the King of Sports for a reason, right? There's a couple things that just came out. Mike Evans is planning to return back to football in 2026 after an injury-riddled year that kept him off the field. Mike Evans has said he wants to be a Buck for life, so we'll see when if he is returning back to football. There's going to be decisions that need to be made in terms of the extension that he's going to be coming to, because I think when he last was a free agent, he signed a 2-year deal to stay with the Bucks for $52 million with $35 million guaranteed. Some players, when they say they want to be lifers, they're going to make the numbers work. And I don't think he's a league minimum type player. He's gonna get top receiver money because even if he doesn't stay with the Bucks, somebody, Patriots, would give you a nice 2-year deal to come over here and be receiver number 1. That big body frame, you talking about when you get into the end zone, in the red zone area, that's the person that you're looking for. You're looking for the Mike Evans, those big body guys that could use and manipulate their body because they're so athletic as well, right? So we'll keep watch on that Mike Evans situation. In other wide receiver news, Tyreek Hill released by the Miami Dolphins, officially making him a free agent, coming off an injury-ridden year that kept him sidelined. His first 2 years in Miami, 1,000-yard receiver both years. Didn't do as well these past 2 years dealing with injury, and you're as good, a wide receiver is going to be as good as their quarterback's going to be. And those last 2 years they were rotating in and out of different quarterbacks due to Tua's injury situations. So it'll be good for Tyreek Hill. He gets a chance to prove people wrong. I don't put it past some of these players when they're coming off major surgeries or injury ridden years. I mean, they got $1 million staff around them teaching them taking care of their bodies and giving them everything that they need. He is going to be on the older side for NFL, 32 years old. So we'll see. I see at least a few teams that will be reaching out to Tyreek Hill to try to get them on their roster. Even Tyreek Hill at 80% is still probably wide receiver number 1 on some teams. So I got for football now. We're out of football season. I'm gonna try to keep it as much basketball as we can, but this is the type of the season. This is the time of the season when I do geek out, guys. I love free agency. I love draft. The back end of roster construction is always interesting to me. Just seeing how people put teams together, how they move things around, manipulate the salary cap to get what they need for players that they need that's gonna fit their system, right? Because you're talking about if the Patriots don't win free agency, they don't have this massive turnaround that they did. Yes, we spent the money in free agency. We drafted fairly well. Our rookie class played a lot of snaps this year. So these next few months really do dictate how you could go get all the coaches you want. But if you can't go get the right players that's going to fit the system that they're trying to do, it's just not going to work. So that's all I got for you guys for the King of Sports this week. And running down, we're just gonna go jump right into the hunt. Inside the hunt, I only got 2 headlines for you. Some weird headline came out. Tony Clark, the head of the Major League Baseball Players Association, resigned after investigation of inappropriate relationship. Get this, with his sister-in-law. That's what it said. That's what it said. So I seen it. At first I was going to report this, but then I was like, it's Major League Baseball is in a time where they're trying to talk salary caps. They're in negotiations with the new CBA is going to be coming up for them, and to have somebody of that high of a stature have to resign due to inappropriate relationships is crazy to me in itself. And we'll see what that entails in terms of this negotiation between the players and the owners, because during this past week, a couple big name players was out there saying that, essentially saying they don't want the salary cap. And why would they, right? They're saying, I guess the questions that was being posed to them is, look at what the Dodgers are doing. How do you feel about it? And the players are on board with what the Dodgers are doing. Some of it for selfish reasons, right? They want to make sure that they're getting the max amount of dollars that they could possibly get. Baseball is one of those things where they're signing dudes to 10-year contracts for $400 million at a time, and then they could. The way the Dodgers are doing it is they're not front loading it, they're back loading it. So like on year 8, 9, that's when they're actually paying out these contracts, and they paying these guys. These Major League Baseball super mega stars are making like vet minimums for the first two to 5 years of their contract, which is they're making it work for them. However they're doing it. Me personally, I would love a salary cap. Now, I see what dangers a salary cap could do to baseball, because it's not like the NBA, it's not like the NFL, where it's like, yes, the Major League Baseball is a star-driven league, but the only way that some of these smaller market teams can compete is because there is no salary cap. So if you're telling somebody that, and it'll make sense in 1 second. You're talking about if there's a salary cap, it should help the smaller market teams. No, it won't help the smaller market teams, because if you're telling somebody whose payroll, and I forget what team it is, it said their payroll for the year is $78 million. If you do a league-wide salary cap, you're probably going to put a salary cap somewhere to the $250 million a year. So that means that these teams that are at 78 millions, they have to spend this 200 million. So that's going to put them in a financial burden. When you're doing a 5, 6, 7x, you're talking about, there's some teams that'll fold. They'll fold operations, right? So now you're going from a league that has roughly, how many teams are in Major League Baseball? 30 teams. Out of those 30 teams, you could possibly lose out, say half these teams. If you go look at their payrolls and what they're doing, like the Blue Jays, Yankees, Red Sox, they would still be around. Even with cheap owner John Henry, we're still making that if there's a salary cap, right? It probably helps John Henry out, because now it makes it seem like he's not so cheap. But then you're talking about Minnesota Twins, Chicago White Sox. Although in a big market, they're not getting the same type of market as the other Chicago team. Kansas City Royals, Oakland Athletics, Seattle Mariners, Miami Marlins. I don't know what the Nationals is doing. Cincinnati Reds, Milwaukee Brewers, Arizona Diamondbacks, Colorado champion. They've won championships in the year, but San Diego Padres, yeah, they make splashes, but they're not making massive splashes. So I only like the salary cap because Me personally, I like seeing how the NBA and NFL is, right? Any given year, your team could be in it, right? Whereas baseball, you got this long ass freaking season already as it is, and you already know right off the top, there's only gonna be like 4 teams that's really competing for anything. And the way the Dodgers are set up right now, they're set up to like every year or every other year they're gonna be playing for a World Series. So it's like, where's the fun? Where's the intrigue? It's like they're just gonna be mauling through things. And when you look at the NBA and the NFL with their hard salary cap, it's hard for you to be doing. It's not built for you to do dynasties in the NFL. Even if you are building a dynasty, you got to do it when your quarterback is cheap. Because the moment you got to pay your quarterback, that's when your salary cap is going to get affected. And that's when you start seeing people walk out the window. You're talking about right now, the Seattle Seahawks just won a Super Bowl. They're looking at salary cap implications. You know, their running back that just won the Super Bowl MVP, he's subject to liable to be walking in free agency. They got other free agents that they want to sign, but when you're dealing with a cap, it's hard to bring everybody back, especially when you're going into a situation. Sam Darnold is not a cheap quarterback. He's making decent money as a QB1. Is it top tier money? No. So you're able to spread out some of that other money across, but they got like big name players that they're already playing. So, and you look at the NBA, because it's not a full hard cap salary cap, and then you got first, eighth, and second rate, there's penalties to make sure that you stay under the cap. So it's fair across the board. I would love a salary cap in Major League Baseball. If some teams die out, they die out. That's just how I look at it. Yeah. I would love to see a more competitive landscape in Major League Baseball that would make it more fun again, make people want to sit there and watch, because you're already not interesting enough. 182 games, it's like if I miss 4 months, who cares? Hell, somebody could be bad for 4 months and then turn it around and be right there in the playoffs again. So that's all I got for you guys in the hunt. I'm not gonna go on too much of a tangent. My opinion, put a salary cap in. Some teams die off, they die off. It is what it is. Because where some fail, others will rise in there. There's a bunch of billionaires that want to get into sports, owning sports teams anyway. So let's go beyond the line. Going beyond the lines, this is where we cover the PGA, LPGA, tennis, and any other type of sports that we think about. To be honest, guys, we're only going to cover golf and tennis in this section. Once in a while, there might be some sneaky other thing that I might slide in here, but it's mostly going to be golf and tennis. In the world of golf, the PGA, my man Collins, listen, when Tiger started to, be on the end tail of his career, Colin Morikawa came out and he was stormed. Before there was a Scotty, I thought Colin was going to be the next guy, right? I'm not saying that these guys are going to be having Tiger-like careers, even though Scotty is putting up a campaign to where it could be a Tiger-like type career when it's all said and done. But I thought Colin was going to be that dude, the new young gun that's going to be blazing. He won fast, he won early, and then he just, I don't know, call it the yips or whatever it is, but like every time he would be going into the last day and he's on the leaderboard, either top three or with striking distance, for some reason he could just not close the deal. And he's been on a 28-month win drought. And it finally ended this past weekend when he won Pebble Beach by one stroke, minus 22. And in his victory, he shared to the world that he is expecting, and their family will be expanding their family with a newborn here in a few months, he said. So rack up the wins now while you can. Well, that's what Scotty did. Scotty racked up a whole bunch of wins while his wife was pregnant and expecting, and then he took his little time off. He took time off right just in time. Won a couple majors as well, and so maybe this is the win that Colin needed and the motivation that he needed to close out some of these games before new baby arrives. In other news, Tiger Woods, speaking of the GOAT, is not ruling out a return this year. He's looking at potentially returning back in the Masters. That's in April. Tiger hasn't played in I want to say at least 2 years competitively now, since having another back surgery, dealing with the ruptured Achilles that he dealt with back last March. So you're talking about if he comes back in April, that'll been a little over a year since the torn Achilles. And Tiger's one of those people that even though his body is tries to fail him at the wrong times, he does take care of his body. Tiger at 50, I think Tiger is now 50 or 51. He looks like he's training like a world class athlete. So I would love to see Tiger back. The game is different when Tiger is on the greens, whether he's at the top of the list or middle pack. Tiger's there, people are showing up, that's the type of situation. If you tell me Tiger Woods is coming back this April for the Masters, I might have to pay them dollars to go down to Augusta and watch the Masters this year, because you never know when you're going to see Tiger again. It could be the last one, so I would definitely love to be in attendance of that one. Whether he's competitive or not, it is what it is. Speaking of Tiger, also this week is the PGA kicks off the Genesis Invitational, which is a sponsored event with Genesis and Tiger Woods. It's gonna be a nice field this week. It'll be fun to watch. This is when golf starts getting fun and interesting. Right around the Waste Management Tour, that's when after the People's Tournament, I think that's when golf goes into full swing. Before you know, we're gonna blink and the Masters is gonna be here, and then we're gonna be right into the playoffs, and all the other majors is coming along the way as well. On the LPGA side, the Honda LPGA Thailand tournament kicks off this Thursday as well. It was weird when I was looking at it. I didn't realize that they was off since the last time I reported on it back from February 9th. This will be their next official sponsored event. And that's what I have for you guys beyond the lines. And we're just going to jump right into the Campus Legends. Campus Legends is where we focus on the college world of sports of football and basketball. Just a couple of headlines that's going to come out for you guys on this one. Royal Rumble Part 2. I guess the kids were watching the adults, because in the Providence versus St. John's game, the the Providence player decided that it was gonna be Royal Rumble time, and he decided that nah, bruh, you're not scoring this easy basket, and he went in and Cool took that player's head off. Apparently, the player was a former Providence player who left them to go to St. John's. It was not even a hard foul; it was flagrant 3. That's how bad that foul was. When I seen it, I was like, oh boy. And then when he popped up, and it was all bets were off. It was the same situation as when when old boy got smushed in the face. It was like the moment he got up, you knew he was going. He was going full tilt, didn't care. And then his teammates did what teammates do. They came in and came rushing, and I think about 7 players got ejected, to include the one that committed the foul as well. St. John's ended up winning the game regardless of the fact, anyways. What was funny about it, when they was reporting this, the kid that committed the foul, it's funny because he has like a haircut where it's like a mullet, but just like shaved, like the whole head is shaved like mine. His whole head's shaved like this, but he has like the little mullet patch right back here. So everybody was like, when somebody has that type of haircut, they don't care about nothing. So it was only a matter of time before he did some craziness. I guess. Speaking of craziness, Kansas State head coach for the basketball team, men's basketball team, went on a crazy tyrant raid after his team goes and gets. I don't know what the final score was, but they did lose pretty bad. During the press conference, he just went off and was like, the guys that was on his team don't deserve to play at the school, deserve to be at the school. And they was asking, what about the fans that got the paper bags on their head? He was like, I'd have a paper bag too if I was in the one that had to coach this thing. And I'm paraphrasing the words also, but he literally just went off on his team. When you see the highlights of that game though, I could see the frustration, but even in frustration, you're still the head guy, man. Come on. And they are still just kids. It did look bad. It looked like there was no effort whatsoever. But to go on a rant like that and say they don't deserve to be. I mean, if you feel that way, just wait till the off season and don't bring back their scholarships. I don't even know how that works. Or go in the transfer portal and get some better players. Um, yeah, cool. In the on the football side of things, Trinidad Childress won his lawsuit against the NCAA so now he is going to get his 6th year of eligibility, and he will be going back to Ole Miss this upcoming season. Turns out Trinidad he was redshirted for injury, I believe it was, in one of his years before getting over to Ole Miss. So he felt as though, and his people felt as though, like, because he missed that year, he should get that 6th year of eligibility because he didn't play for that year. It turns out when the judge came down and ruled in his favor, they said they don't even know why this was even on the dockets. Essentially, they should have ruled in favor of this because it showed proof of evidence that he did not play for that year. Therefore, he is eligible for his 6th year. So Trinidad Childress will be returning back to Ole Miss to try to lead them back into the college football playoffs and see if they can make some noise again. It was exciting watching them play this past season. They need to add a couple of things through that transfer portal. I don't know what their recruitment class look like. That'll dictate how the season's gonna go. Sticking to the campus legends, we're gonna start talking a little bit basketball. We're less than a month out before Selection Sunday, which is on March 15th for the 68 team field for both men's and women's. On March 15th at 6 p.m. on CBS, they'll be announcing the men's bracket. And then at 8 p.m. on ESPN, they'll be announcing the women's bracket. That's when college basketball gets fun. Right now it's fun. We love watching the games. Like I said, we're a little over a month out before Selection Sunday, but there'll be championship weeks before that. So you're talking about there's about 2.5 weeks left of the season, maybe close to 3 weeks left on the season before you go into your championship tournaments. But right now, some of these games that I've been catching a couple highlights. I've been catching a couple games when there's nothing else essentially on. Some of these teams are being upsetted by these lower ranked teams, and I'm saying I hope that doesn't come back to haunt some of you guys later on, because you're looking at what I love and what a lot of people love about March Madness. For me, I personally love March Madness. I love one and done situations. This is why football's always will be king to me, because 1, every game matters. 2, when you get into the playoffs, there's no tomorrow. There's no, I had a bad game, I could get it back in game 2. You can't go down 0-2 or 0-3. It's no, you lose, you're done. Finish. Finale. Like, there's no like, man, we about to go into this game 5. All we gotta do is win game 5, and if we lose game 5, man, we made it this far. Nah, one and done. That's it. If you lose, you're going home. Your season's over. And this is why I personally love March Madness, because it's the same concept. You lose, it's over. There's nothing left. Your whole season, you had a great run. See you next year, some of y'all. Some of y'all is going off to the pros, but some of these games, let's go to it. Friday the 6th, number 22 St. John's outlast number 3 UConn. My UConn Husky men 81-72, and then on Saturday you had number 14 North Carolina wins over rival number 4 Duke 71-68. That was a big game for North Carolina, just for them to turn around and let it slip away the next time they come out. Number 10 Michigan State wins over number 5 Illinois 85-82. Some of these games are kind of close, but when you talk about tournament time, man, it don't matter if it's by 1 or 20. A win's a win, a loss is a loss, and you're either going home or you play on. On Sunday the 8th, on the women's side, unranked Colorado wins over number 14 TCU 80-79. That's an upset right there. TCU is one of the favorites for me going into the tournament. I think they're a dangerous team. I know it says number 4 ranked as number 14, but that's a dangerous team. I don't You talking about they could be doing some upsets in this tournament, depending on where side of the bracket that they're on. Sticking to the women's side, Texas unranked Texas A&M wins over number 21 Alabama, 72-69 on Wednesday the 9th. Number 1 Arizona goes down to number 9 Kansas, ending the undefeated season 82-78. Just like that, you know. And again, does it really matter right now? It's their first loss on the season. At the time, it was their first loss on the season. Tuesday on the 10th, TCU on the men's side, TCU takes down number 5 Iowa 62-55. Now that's a loss. Number 13 Purdue defeats number 7 Nebraska in overtime 80-77. Wisconsin steals one over number 8 Illinois in overtime 92-90, while unranked Miami beats number 11 North Carolina 75-66. That's what I was talking about. You have a great win over your rival Duke, and then you just come out and lose to an unbeaten team by almost 10 points. But that's basketball, though. Basketball does stuff like this. This is why it's so hard to predict basketball games, except for on the women's side. The women's side is a little bit different. The 9 times out of 10, the higher ranked team is going to win, and they're going to win in blowout fashion, to be completely honest. The women's side, where you ranked is who you are, but like you get unranked teams a lot of times on the men's side that's just going to be taking down these top ranked teams. They got nothing to play for, you know what I mean? And if you play with your food, you're gonna lose it, you know what I mean? On Friday the 13th, unranked Wisconsin beats down on number 10 Michigan State 92-71. That's crazy. An unranked team comes to you and you get beat down like that. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, number 23 Miami, Ohio remains undefeated. I believe they're the last undefeated team in men's college basketball. Let me see here before I start talking out my buttocks. Yeah, they're the last unbeaten team at 25-0. The next closest team to them is this St. Louis team at 24-1 and Michigan at 24-1, because Arizona the next day on Valentine's Day decides to go down in back-to-back games. Then still number 1 ranked Arizona goes down in back-to-back games to number 16 Texas Tech 78-75 in overtime. Yeah, wrong answer. You're not trying to losing one game, whatever. Losing 2 games is still whatever, but back-to-back at this late in the season, come on, man, you gotta figure that out. When you lose, you're supposed to bounce back. You don't lose to two lower seeded teams to you. This is the stuff that'll happen to you in a tournament. You play around, a number 9 and a number 16 team knocks out. That's an upset right there. If you think about the brackets, number 16 would face a number 1. So that means your whole season, you've been ranked number 1 the entirety of the season, and all of a sudden a number 16 team just gets scrappier than you, and then they knock you out the tournament. But that's why we love March Madness, baby. And on Sunday, on the women's side, unranked Georgia takes down number 5 Vanderbilt 76-74. Sticking to the women's side, number 20 Maryland wins over number 8 Ohio State 76-75. And on Monday the 16th, we had number 6 Iowa State come back to beat number 2 Houston. After it was down by 10 points, they come back and rally and win that game 70-67. And number 3 Duke embarrasses Syracuse. I'm talking about embarrasses Syracuse 101-67, extending their win streak against them by like 11, I think. Don't quote me on that. Quote me on the score. Quote me on the words. They got embarrassed 101-64, and I believe I saw that the streak, Syracuse has not beaten Duke in like 11 games or something like that. So lastly, on the 17th, Miami, Ohio stays undefeated for their 26th win over UMass Minutemen 86-77. And with that being said, being that we're getting close towards the end of these seasons here, top 25 current standings is, and I'm not doing all of them, I'm going to do top 10. On the men's side, Michigan at number 1, 24-1. Houston at number 2, 23-2. Number 3, Duke at 23-2. Number 4, Arizona at 23-2. Number 5, UConn at 24-2. Number 6, Iowa State at 22-3. Number 7, Purdue at 21-4. Number 8, Kansas at 19-6. And number 9, Nebraska at 22-3. And your top 10 rounds out at Illinois with a record of 21-5. Yeah, so Arizona moved down 3 slots after those 2 losses. UConn had slid down a little bit, but now they're back up into the top 5. Purdue jumped up 6 slots, coming into that number 7. And then Kansas only went up by 1 slot. I mean, but you lost 6 games all the season, so I guess. Yeah, not mad at this. You're looking at a couple unranked teams are in the top 25 right now. St. John, St. Louis, Vanderbilt are 17, 18, 19th, respectively. You know, BYU at 23. I've watched a couple of their games because of the Banster. I like the kid. I think the kid is the top NBA talent coming out this draft class and this deep ass draft class. But at 19-6, I sit there and watch some of their games. Their marquee games, they're just not pulling them out. I mean, they're doing their job by beating teams that they're supposed to beat, but like the big games where it's like, come on, step in, step out. You know, you had the UConn loss. That was a close one. That was in the Garden. 86-84. That was a loss there. But you're talking about your best ranked opponent win that I'm seeing so far is against number 23 Wisconsin, 98-70. Other than that, number 15 Texas Tech, you lost to them, 84-71. Arizona, you lost to them, 86-83. Number 14 Kansas, you lost to them, 90-82. You lost to unranked Oklahoma State, 99-92. You lost to number 8 Houston, 77-66. And then you have 2 more ranked opponents on your schedule. Arizona, you're going to Arizona, and then Iowa State comes to you. That's your last 2. Oh, no, Texas Tech is your closeout game. So you got 2, 3 out of your last 6 games are against ranked opponents, but yeah, you have yet to beat a ranked opponent. At some point, you have to like dig deep and get it done. If you want to be on that national stage, with the talent that you have right now and the bandstand and those guys around them, I feel as though you can make some noise in the tournament. But right now, you're not giving anybody any. I see why you're ranked at 23. Like, you have not beaten any ranked opponent, and you lost to an unranked opponent. So, we'll see how that cookie crumbles. Let's go over to the women's side. On the women's side, top 25, I'm only giving you the top 10. We're going to start off with my UConn Huskies at 27-0. I believe, let me make sure. Yes, they are. They're the only unbeaten team still left. Trying to go into this tournament as number 1 overall. Keep us away from the South Carolinas of the world. Save that for like a Final Four matchup or something. Keeping going, number 2 UCLA at 25-1. Number 3 is South Carolina at 25-2. Number 4 Texas at 24-3. Number 5 Vanderbilt at 24-3. Nobody position changed out of the top 5. Top 6, you bring in Michigan at 22-4. They moved up 1 rank. LSU is in at 7 at 22-4, moving down 1 slot. Louisville comes in at 8 at 24-4, moving up 1 slot. And number 9, Duke, comes in at 19-6, moving up 2 slots. And number 10, Ohio State, I guess they didn't like that last loss that they got. Sitting at 22-4, they dropped down 2 slots. Listen, one thing's for sure. The women's rankings is legit. Where you slot in at, I could honestly say, like, there's not a team that, like, you might want to move them up a little bit, move them down a little bit. Nah, not on the women's side. It is what it is. You are what your record is. I promise you. Like, I'm comparing it to, like, the coaches poll versus the AP top 25. They got Michigan and Vanderbilt flipped. Excuse me. They got Duke way lower. They got Duke at 13, where the AP got them at 9. Ohio State stays the same. Oklahoma is at 9 rather than 11. Yeah, I mean, they're pretty much even. The only craziness that you see is 9. Duke goes from 9 to 13 according to the coaches' polls. But that's what I got for you guys for Campus Legend for today. We're gonna jump right into on ice. On ice, guys. You know I don't know nothing about hockey, but I'm gonna check in on my Bruins. And right now, my Bruins are 32-20, 32 wins, 20 losses, and 5 ties, giving them a 69-point total, which gives them number 2 in the wild card standings. It seems like they've been hanging around the wild card standings, we jumping back and forth between 1 and 2. I think only 1 point separates them currently. They are 1 point behind the Buffalo Sabres. And then they're 4 points ahead of the Columbus Blue Jackets. So they got a comfortable little lead, and they're right there at the to get the number 1 slot, I believe. And looking at it, they're at 69 points. Third place in the Atlantic is the Detroit Red Wings. They're at 72 points, so three points behind. It's still quite a few games left where that could turn around for the Bruins. It seems like they should make the playoffs and get in, and winning you're in. You get in, that's all that really matters, to be completely honest. So that's what I got for you guys on Ice NHL edition. We're just going to go straight into what y'all came here to see. Let's talk some court vision, baby. This is where we cover the NBA and WNBA. And we're going to start right off with the headlines with the WNBA. The WNBA PA submits a counter proposal. Guys, I am so excited. Not about the counter proposal. It's just the fact that they're talking to each other again. The last thing that happened was back last year. End of last year, I believe. It was around Christmas time or around New Year's when there was a proposal that was submitted and just been sitting on. And it was like, you know me, I'm trying to get to Vegas to go see my girl Asia Wilson, my newest member to my GOAT list, top 10 GOAT list of all time, of all sports. I want to see Asia Wilson go put up that other banner, baby. But I can't do that if you guys are in a lockout. So back to what I was saying. The WNBA PA did submit a counter proposal. This time they brought the numbers down just a little bit. They're proposing a 27.5% percentage of revenue sharing, gross revenue sharing, starting at 25% in the first year with a salary cap of $9.5 million, down from the 31% that was proposed previously, and the start of 28% and a $10.5 million cap proposal that was given in December. Housing still seems to be a sticking issue, but it seems like they're bending a little bit on that one also. On the player side, the teams will continue providing housing in the first several years of this agreement, and then no longer responsible for the players making close to the max. Right now, the WNBA does provide housing for their players. So in this language, how it's reading to me right now, I haven't seen the actual fully CBA. Once it's executed, I will grab a copy of that. I tell you, I'm a weirdo. I love off-season stuff. I like reading the CBAs and all that to see like the nuances and how people are really making their money and all that. WNBA is, those players are grossly underpaid, but I get it from the standpoint. If you look at the books and all that stuff, the league is hemorrhaging money a little bit, but they are coming into this new TV deal that they just negotiated. Ticket sales are only going higher. They're moving into bigger arenas. I think as the years progress, if they don't go into this lockout, I think with the uprising of the Clayton and Clarks, the Angel Reeses of the world, I think that dynamic, I've said it before, that is the equivalent of a Bird and Magic coming into the league at the right time, at the perfect time, and it gave it that storm to where the NBA was able to start building and exploding on. And then, later on you get the Michael Jordans, the LeBron James, the Kobe Bryants, and now the Jason Tatum, the Ants, the Wembys. Like, it takes time to get to where the NBA is at. It's not going to happen overnight. We can't go from paying players less than $200,000 a year at a max deal to $20 million a year max deal. We're going to have to grow to that. And I think it has the potential to grow. I'm telling you right now, if you guys don't watch the WNBA, you guys are doing yourself an injustice and in service. And like, they play ball in the WNBA. Some of the stuff looks a little funny, and but I'm a fan. I am a fan. I will give my money all day, every day to go sit and watch those girls play. Um, uh, I'm just a fan. I've been a fan of the women's game. Um, so yeah, hopefully they could come to an agreement before the start of the official league year. I remember hearing or seeing somewhere that Adam Silver is not going to insert a deadline date to make this thing move along, but he is obviously monitoring it. So hopefully they get to that agreement. Other news: Triple J to have surgery on knee after being traded. He is going to be shut down what seems to be the season. If you're talking about a knee surgery, I don't know if they're doing a full surgery, a scope. Or, I don't know how intense it is. It was some mass that they seen. I think it said that it was why they're doing the surgery or whatever the case may be. But Triple J is getting shut down. Those that don't know, Jaren Jackson Jr. is Triple J. He's out in Utah now after being traded from Memphis. During whatever, they found something in his knee, and now they're gonna give him the surgery now. I forget which game it was, but I had wrote down this note. But Braun became the oldest player. I mean, you've been playing this league for 22 years now. You're 23 years. 23 years. You're bound to be setting all types of records, especially when you're playing this game at a high level at 41 years old. I swing my legs out of the bed, I'm broke. My knees are broken. So I don't know how this man is still doing what he's doing at 41 in the league. But became the oldest player to post a triple double, stat line of 28, 12, and 10, making his 50th of his career. The 22 All-Star, four-time league MVP, four-time champ, all-time leading scorer, still claims he doesn't know what he's doing or the future of playing for next year for his 24th season. Guys, if you know me, you know I'm a big-time LeBron James fan. He is on my top 10 GOATs list. He is by far... Wait for that episode and I'll tell you where he falls in on that list. The great debate versus him and MJ. Oh, he loses. Whatever. We'll talk about that for that bonus episode I got coming out for you guys. Top 10 GOATs list of all time, of all sports. I call cap. When Braun says stuff like this to me, it irritates my nerves. Because Braun is the most intellectually sound individual when it comes to business and this basketball thing. There's no way you're telling me that you don't know if you're coming back next year or not. You might have lost maybe you lost a little lust for the game because this is the first year where you had like a lot of injuries coming into the season, so you lost games. And then this is going to be the first season where you're looking at, you're not going to make an all-pro team. You're not going to be able to be eligible for certain awards, whatever the case may be. You done won every damn award that's on that list anyways. I don't think it's going to tarnish or ruin your record over this, but I don't have no sources, people. I just believe what I believe. I believe that LeBron James will tell us in advance if and when he is going to retire. I don't believe that my guy LeBron is not going to let us as fans, us as the NBA, shower him with his flowers that he deserves on the way out the door. There's no way. There's no way he does not get his retirement tour as he's playing the game. And then he'd be even more motivated. I know LeBron. If he announces retirement, boy, you're going to see a different LeBron James. You think he got pep in his step right now? If he's going out the door, he's going to do everything he could possibly can to make sure that he makes it to that NBA championship game and let the chips fall how the chips fall. I promise you. And as a Celtics fan, Bron, I hope you make it to the NBA championship, but I hope you don't win it at the same time. Don't care. Because as a Celtics fan, I put that before my LeBron James fandom. Point blank, period. Sorry, can't do it. You're not gonna help the Lakers. Now, if you leave the Lakers and then you go back home to Cleveland or you go somewhere else to the New York Knicks or something, then by all means go win you another championship, get you your fifth ring, and tie Kobe and be just one short of MJ. That's fine. But as long as you wear that purple and gold, I do not root for you to win a championship. I root for you to have an amazing career. Every year I want you to have a great year, put up stupid numbers that can't be touched later on, but I don't want you to win a championship. Not when you win that purple and gold. So you better get out that purple and gold if you want me to root for you. That's what I'm saying. I said what I said, and I meant it. All right, let's go. Let's talk about this W. The NBA All Star Weekend. Kicked off with the celebrity game. It's cool. Don't watch it. You know, I would love to play in a celebrity game one year. Maybe I'll make it big enough to where I'll be invited to play in a celebrity game. I don't know what the hell I'll do out there, you know, but I mean, if Kev Hart could play in a celebrity game and win MVPs, then I could participate. I know that for sure. My competitive nature will give me at least 4 or 5 points. I get 4 or 5 points, depending on the competition that they put out there. Because there's actually some celebrities that could ball out now, like the Chris Browns of the world. Like how are you this talented? How you could do all this and then still be playing ball? And you know what? I would love to play in a celebrity all-star game. You can put me in the B celebrity all-star game that play like on Thursday night or something when the NBA is still kind of playing. Just put me in that game. I'll love it. I'll be out there covering the games and then playing the game. But moving on, the slam dunk contest. Ugh, I don't remember the kid's name, and I did not write it down. I know Dame Lillard won the 3-point contest again. I think that's cool. I think that's one of the more exciting things for me. I don't look forward to the dunk contest because the people that I want to see in the dunk contest refuse to go into it. So, I was ecstatic when Jaylen Brown went into it last year because I think he's one of the best dunkers in the game. I would love to have seen LeBron James at some point in his career, maybe in his retirement year, he'll bless us and give us that when he just doesn't care anymore, and then he'll, you know, the All-Star weekend. Yeah, it'd be great to see LeBron. I'd love to see Ant-Man. Um, there's a few people that I'd love to see in a dunk contest, but for some reason they refuse to go into it. So, um, yeah. But 3-point contest, that's cool. I'd pay my money to sit down and watch that one because that's always entertaining. Watching the threes go up, the money balls and all that other stuff. It was that one I tuned in for. Dame did his thing, you know, coming off that injury, and he still came back and grabbed his crown, man. And I was just reading another article. They're trying to get like Clay and some of these other 3-point specialists to come out into this game, and let's make it really interesting. Steph, I wish Steph was healthy to see if he could have took down Dame Lillard, but there's always next year. Next year when I'm there at the celebrity games, it'd be good to be courtside or somewhere in the building watching that 3-point contest also. So yeah, whoever picks these celebrity ones, you should put some pseudo celebrities or some BC list celebrities and let me get into that game. All right, I cover y'all. I swear. It seems like I only cover the NFL, but I do cover the NBA as well. So let me get into that celebrity game. Y'all had Sham Sharania playing in that game, man. Come on now. I'm just talking shit, man. I don't know how that man did or what he looked like when he played in that game. Yeah, so for the All-Star games, they did the round robin tournament. I was happy to see that it was very competitive. The few minutes that I did watch and the highlights that I was seeing, it was pretty competitive games. I think the guys did take it serious, especially when they came against the World and the World team. Outside of Joker and Luka sitting on the bench having fun, and Giannis sitting in street clothes. The USA Stars won the first game 37 over the World team 37-35. The USA Stripes team, which is the old heads team, they beat the USA Stars team was the Young Guns 42-40. Then in game 3, USA Stripes beat the World team 48-45, eliminating the world team, and then playing in the championship game was the old heads versus the young guns, and the young guns came out and just put a whooping on them. Ant-Man was not having it. Ant-Man went in there and said, "Boy, let me tell you, that boy was having fun. He was playing competitive." And that's the thing, that it sucks that it had to go to a format of a round robin. I would have loved to have seen like a full game of like US versus world players and see how that really would have matched up and how competitive it really would have been. But I love the USA Stars versus the Stripes game because it was like the way it was set up. It was like the old guard versus the new guard of the game, and like them young boys went at it. They went at it, and they won 47-21. It wasn't even close. Ant-Man did his thing. He ends up winning the All-Star Game MVP. Shout out to Minnesota. Both on the women and the men's side won the All-Star MVPs this year. And I will say, I was one of those people that was not really on the bandwagon for this round robin stuff. It's in concept, it sounded cool. I'm not gonna lie, it sounded cool because when you say world versus US, I think both sides are gonna perk up a little bit to play those games, and they're gonna give more effort and competitive edge while they're doing this. So shout out to them. They did what they wanted to do. They accomplished that thing, and it was fun to see. I wish I did tune in for majority of it or whatever, rather than just quick highlights here or there. It's only because life was life, and I just didn't have a chance to sit down and watch it. So I was like trying to catch it on my phone and on my iPad and all that stuff. But definitely looking forward to next year. Hopefully they stick to the same format, or maybe just do one US team versus one world team, and let's do it out all 4 quarters, no round robin. Let's just do it. Even if they stick with the round robin, I'm not gonna be mad at it either. That's what I got out of All-Star Weekend. A lot of guys got to rest up, got to get ready for the second long haul of the season, the last stretch of the season. I believe it's about 28 games left on the season. And yeah, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, there should be about like 28 games left on the season. So this is when the NBA season starts to get fun. The trade deadline's over, the buyout market's over, free agency's over. Is everything like what you got is what you got. Now it's just about staying healthy and making that push to get into the right seeding, staying out of that playing tournament, so you don't have to play that extra 1 or 2 games if you're in that situation. So let's run through this. I did pick a couple of games last week. I did way better than I've been doing. Thank you, Jesus. I'm 2 games over 500 and picking. I mean, granted, I picked 8 games. I went 5-3 overall. Now with that, I am now 25-38. I'm still bottom of the league. You know, it is what it is. I'm not mad at it, but I had a respectable week going into the All-Star break. Now that we're out of the All-Star break, that's when we're really gonna be able to sit down and like watch these games, see who's injured, who's not injured, how they matching up, what schemes that they running, and all that good jazz, so we could really get ready for this playoff push, this last 28 games. So let's run through the games that I did call and pick. On Tuesday, I had the Lakers versus the Spurs game, and I chose the Spurs. The Spurs did win that game 136-108. That's the only game that I picked on Tuesdays. On Wednesday's game, I'm always picking the Celtics games. So Celtics versus the Bulls, I took the Celtics, and the Celtics beat down on the Bulls 124-105. Then I picked the Knicks versus the 76ers game. I chose the Knicks in that one. The Knicks beat down on the 76ers, even worse, 138-89. When I look at the score, I was like, wait, is that a typo? Yeah, but they put in that work. The Clippers versus the Rockets, I chose the Rockets in that one. That's one of the losses that I got. The Clippers won that one 105-102 in a close one. The Thunder versus the Suns, I chose the Thunder in that one. The Thunder won that one 136-109. There was some beatdowns this week. I think the only close game was that Clippers and Rockets game where 105-102. Everybody else is at least a 25 point win. Because to round out that last game game on Wednesday is the Spurs versus the Warriors. I chose the Spurs, and the Spurs won 126 to 113. And the last day of the week before going into All-Star break on Thursday, I chose the Bucks over the Thunder, and I picked the Thunder to win that one. The Bucks won that one 110 to 93. The Mavericks versus the Lakers, I really thought that, without Luka, then the Mavericks was gonna put on a show and then try to steal one, and so I chose them. But instead, the Lakers had different plans, winning by 20 points, 124 to 104. And then that was the end of the week, and then we went into All-Star weekend. Which again we just kind of talked about. We just talked about a little bit. Like I said, I think All-Star Weekend have a little bit of its luster back. The only thing, like I said, is a dunk contest for me. There's nothing intriguing about that unless you start bringing out some of these actual like big name dunkers that the fans and people like me want to. I'll pay to come watch that at that point. You know what I mean? Celebrity game is always fun. It's always entertaining to see different people playing the sport. From different walks of life. 3-point contest was amazing. Rising Stars game was amazing, and I'm not gonna say amazing, but I did like the format of the All-Star game round robin. If we're sticking with that world versus US, and then with the US teams, I like this whole young gun old guard team versus the new guard team. They blew out the old heads though. I'll tell you that much. But I do believe if Steph was playing in that game, it'd be a different outcome. You know what I mean? LeBron tossing that joint over to Curry and Curry to KD. I ain't doing what y'all just did, but it is what it is. Y'all wanted young guns. Y'all did what y'all was supposed to do. Let's jump into the standings where we stood going into the All-Star break and coming out of it, since there was no more games. Eastern Conference, we have the Detroit Pistons in at number 1, still at 40-13. My Boston Celtics in at number 2, 35-9, with a record of 35-19. The New York Knicks is right behind them at number 3 at 35-20. The Cleveland Cavaliers is behind them at number 4, 34-21. The Raptors in at 32 at number 5 at 32-25. Guys, that top 4, that's how it's staying. I don't see that changing much. I think there'll be shuffle. It could be shuffle in all 4 positions, but I think those are the 4 teams that are going to stay in the top 4. I just wanted to throw that in there. Yeah, I don't see anybody surging to really take over any of those spots. I think the Cavaliers got a whole lot better with adding James Harden. They just gave themselves a 2-year window as opposed to the 5-6 year window that they had when they had Garland. But something had to change. And I liked it. I liked the move that the Cavs did to put themselves in this position. I could easily see the Cavs jumping over the Knicks, probably even jumping over the Celtics, and really competing to try to take that number 1 from Detroit. But Detroit looks legit, man. My only reservation with Detroit is like, you haven't done it yet, right? You have the talent. Yeah, and some of those trades that you guys did, I don't know how it's gonna affect you later on, but time will tell. You've been holding on that number one spot for a minute. It's a 5-game lead over the Boston Celtics and the New York Knicks right now. But one cold week, that thing gets a little bit tighter. The noose gets a little bit tighter around your neck, and you get wonky. You're a young team, but I know JB Bickerstaff, the way he coaches over there. Because remember, when he was with Cleveland, he had Cleveland as the number 1 team, and they let him go, and now he's right back at number 1. It's a different team. His system works. He gets guys to buy in, and he knows how to develop these young talents. So, and at number 6 is the 76ers at 30-24. At number 7, right behind them, is the Orlando Magic at 28-25. Behind them is the Miami Heat at 29-27. Right behind them is the Red Hot Hornets, 26-29. The record does not dictate what you see on that court. The Hornets is a team that if you let them sneak into the top 6, they can make some noise and get out of that first round. Depending on who they match up with. And then you got the Atlanta Hawks rounding out the 10th team on this for the Eastern Conference at 26-30. Moving on to the Western Conference, you got the Oklahoma City Thunder in at number 1 at 42-14. The Spurs closing that gap on them though. They're closing that gap. It's a four game lead over in the West with the Spurs at 38-16. And if you end up with a tie record, we all know who owns that tiebreaker. The boys that put a whooping on y'all 4 times already this season. In at number 3 is the Denver Nuggets, 35-20. They've been staying solid right there, man. And I don't know if you remember back when Joker was injured back in December, I was like, man, they're saying he's gonna be out for 2 weeks. That 2 weeks they had about like an 8-game stretch, and they kept it solid. And then the Joker returns. It's like I don't see how I am adamant about the top 4 in the East. I believe the top 3 in the West is pretty much where it locked in right there. I don't see the Rockets are in at number 4 right now, 33-20. Can they make some noise and flip it on the Nuggets because it's so close? Yeah, sure. But I do feel as though the top 3 in the West should still end up being Thunder, Spurs, Nuggets in some type of order. In at number 5, you got the Lakers at 33-21. You got the Timberwolves in at 6 with 34-22. I could see the Timberwolves climbing up that chart a little bit higher, maybe getting up to as high as 4. Ant-Man has figured a couple things out, and now that the dust is settled and you see who's remaining on the team, I just heard Conley. Did he go back to the Bucks or did he go back to the Wolves? No, I think he went back to the Bucks. So never disregard what I was just about to say. In at number 7 is the Phoenix Suns at 32-23. At number 8, the Warriors are in at 29-26. At number 9, the Trailblazers at 27-29. And rounding out the top 10 in the West is the Clippers at 26-28. Keep in mind, 10 teams make it to the playoff. 7 through 10, they're in a play-in. 1 through 6 are automatic bids. 7 would play 10. 7 would play 8. Winner takes the 7th spot, and the loser waits for the winner of the 9-10 game. So that's why 10 teams make it into the playoffs now in each conference. With that being said, I want to introduce my Lucky 7 top rankings. My Lucky 7 top rankings is going to be my new, every week, I'm going to sit down and pick the 7 best teams in the NBA league-wide. That's how I'm going to do it. I will list them out, not by conference. It's overall, NBA-wise, who I think are the top 7 teams in the NBA. And I'm also going to do my first NBA Finals pick, who will be representing in that game. Listen, every week this list could change. Every week and now that I'm gonna sit there and start watching these games, it's like I'll see who is deserving of some of these rankings, because just because your record could say one thing and I could care less. My eyes are gonna tell me something else, because when the playoffs start and you gotta buckle down and play a 7-game series where I don't have to worry about the travel's not as crazy. I don't have to worry about, man, I got this game, I'm playing 4 out of 5 and all such stuff. I got to rest this player here. I got to Nah, if you're healthy and you go into the playoffs and you got to buckle down and you got to scheme and play ball, that's a different world, boy. It's a different world. Your record don't mean shit at that point. All it did was get you a good seeding and hopefully home court advantage throughout whatever round that you're in, right? So with that being said, let's jump right into my Lucky Sevens list. On my Lucky Sevens list, I'm going to start off with the number 7 team on this list. I'm going to start off with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I like Cleveland Cavaliers as the 7th best team right here because of, one, playing in the East. I think you are definitely a top 4 team. I love the James Harden trade for you. Not just the James Harden trade. A lot of people are focused on the James Harden trade, but I love even the Schroeder and the Keon Ellis move. Because yes, you lose DeAndre Hunter, but I feel as though Schroeder coming off that bench with the second unit, you're giving Donovan Mitchell some time to rest. Because what happens in the playoffs? Donovan Mitchell has to do so much, and then Garland is usually injured. So then Donovan has to do more, and then he's having to play deep. And guys are picking him up at, like, when you play the Boston Celtics or the Detroit Pistons, they're going to be picking you up at 90 feet. Right underneath the basket, they're picking you up. They're going to make you work. They're going to make your legs get tired. And we see Donovan Mitchell always runs out of gas. And that's been the downfall. But now you go and get a James Harden. It's you gotta now pick and choose your poison. Don't sleep on James Harden. James Harden is gonna give you 2. He gonna give you 2 games, 2 solid games. So then if he's giving you 2, Donovan Mitchell could give you 1 or 2 wins by himself. That means when it goes to game 5s and game 6, you just need your team to rally around and steal one on the road or some type of situation. But Harden's going to give you 2. Mitchell's going to give you 2. Whereas before, Garland would maybe give you 1. And because he's in and out, that means Donovan's 2 now becomes 1. And that's the difference of when it comes to this NBA playoff stuff. That's how you got to look at it, right? Jared Allen and Mobley, they're not going to take over no game like the way a Harden and a Mitchell could do it, or how you expect a Garland to be doing it, right? So they go how Mitchell goes, how Harden's going to go. And then you bring Harden, one of the best passers that's in the game right now. Everybody loves his step back 3. He's an assassin with that joint, whatever. But I am more impressed with James Harden's passing. He's going to, and we already seen it in that short little sample size. He's already starting to unlock Mobley and Jared Allen. And then it's taking pressures off of Donovan Mitchell. And then when you talk about you could rest Donovan Mitchell because you come off the bench with a Schroeder that's going to be harassing their players at 90 feet off of the basket. And then you got Keon Ellis that's a defensive specialist and could still give you a solid 8-10 points. That's where the Cleveland Cavaliers got very dangerous. That Harden trade and the Keon Ellis and Dennis Schroeder is, my opinion, keeps them in relevancy and contention for the East. Moving on to the sixth best team on my Lucky 7 top rankings. Give me the Detroit Pistons. I know a lot of y'all saying, "Oh my God, they're down at number 6. Oh my God, blah blah blah. They're the number 1 team in the East." Guys, like I already previewed it. I don't care about records. Prove it to me. Right? And don't get it and by me saying prove it to me, the Detroit Pistons had a hell of a run last season. And I seen it coming. I love Cunningham. Cunningham is that dude. He's a silent assassin too, because he's not a showboaty type of guy. He's not loud, but like he takes care of business, and you could tell his IQ and his vision, the way he sees the court, boy, he's going to unlock Durham and all them. They could get rebounds. They're very physical, and they could get into you. And they play that physical type of ball where, like, they're not going to pick up a lot of fouls. And even if they do, who cares? That type of stuff. I like this Detroit team. Don't get it twisted. The reason why I put them at 6 is just I like other teams better than what they have. I like the matchups that could happen between Detroit versus some other teams. This is the only reason why I put them at 6. Next week, they could freaking be number 2 team for all I freaking know. You know what I mean? Let me sit down and watch how they're doing. But from what I've seen and what I've known and how the lineups are, I put Detroit Pistons at number 6. Top 5 team. You see there's 2 teams at 7 and 6 from the East. Going out west. My number 5 team on this list is going to be the Denver Nuggets. Denver Nuggets got the Joker, obviously, right? One of the best players in the world, hands down. We don't get it. It's not even dad bod God. He's slow. He doesn't care, but it just works. And then you pair him with Murray. As long as Murray stays healthy, that is one of the most dangerous 1-2 combos in the league. And then they went and brought Bruce Brown back. I hope he's still on the team. I haven't really dug into rosters, but if he's still on that team, you're talking about when they went on their championship run. Bruce Brown was a very key catalyst to that championship run. Bruce Brown was able to steal a game that put him in position to be able to win the championship. I tell you guys, When the Joker went down, I thought the Nuggets were gonna slip down into like potentially 6th seed, maybe in the play-in tournament situation, and then they'd be fighting and battling in the West to try to get back into the top 6. They didn't slip at all, and for me, that says more about that team. And if I recall correctly, I don't think they did any drastic moves at the trade deadline. They probably did something during the buyout situation or whatever the case may be. Again, I didn't look through the roster constructions or what they are. I'm going in blindly on how I feel on the little bit of sample size that I have when I created this list. But I like the Denver Nuggets in that number 5. I think when you lose your best player and you don't miss a beat and you insert best player back, that's a recipe for disaster for the other teams that are playing, because for them, they're like, man, how demoralizing is that? They lose their best player, one of the best players on the planet is out 2 weeks, and you still manage to maintain, if not extend your lead and hold on in this crazy Western Conference that they said is that it's not they said, you can see it with your own 2 eyes. They're a dominant conference, and they're gonna beat down on each other like there's no tomorrow. Um, so that's why I have the Denver Nuggets in at number 5. At number 4, this team right here, I've been screaming since the start of the season. I feel as though they're the best team in the East. I'm still sticking by that until Jason Tatum comes back. Once Jason Tatum gets back and they integrate that, man, all bets are off. But give me the New York Knicks at number 4. I think the New York Knicks is one of the most, it's the most underrated, talented roster out there, constructed. I love how World Wide West put this roster together. Dolan has stepped back these past few years. That's been like their Achilles heel, is him being in the weeds and meddling, but they figured something out. And I didn't like them getting rid of the previous coach, but it ain't like they got some scrub to come back in. Mike Brown knows how to coach. Mike Brown is a championship coach. You know, he's been around the league and back again, so he's learned things. He's seen systems. He's developed his system. He knows how to work with players. And with this New York team, this New York Knicks team, as long as you got big body Brunson and the right cat, right? I'm not a fan of Cat. Anybody that knows me, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. Not nothing personal, just on the basketball side. I think he complains too much. He whines too much, which a lot of NBA players do, right? You can say it about some of my Celtics players. But for me, is the whining has to stop at some point and play ball, man. You're a big man. Get in there, get dirty, do what you got to do, and bully some people. But you can't be whining in 2 seconds and then thinking you're a big bad wolf, and 2 seconds later, I don't buy it, bro. I think with Cat, and if you could keep Mitchell out of freaking, they're gonna play this hacker Mitchell situation every time. Mitchell got to make these free throws. You just need him to hit like 30% of the free throws so that people could get off of that joint, right? But as long as Mitchell's there in that anchoring that center, giving you second chance point opportunities, and you kicking out to Jalen Brunson, when it comes to that fourth quarter, if you keeping it close, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, is so much talent on that team on both sides of the ball, defensively and offensively. And then you're talking about, you have two people that could potentially be closers for you in Cat and in Jalen Brunson. And then you got your third option is Michael Bridges. I like the New York Knicks at number 4. I've been saying it all season. I think they're by far one of the best teams in the East until Jason Tatum comes back. But that's where I got them at right now. Because at number 3, I got yours truly, the Boston Celtics. Guys, this is not a homer pick. This is just what it is. I've been saying it already. I never believed that the Boston Celtics was going to be in no type of rebuild mode, no gap year. We got Jaylen Brown and we got Derek White. Did I think that we would be a number 2 seed at this point going into All-Star break and coming out of All-Star break? That I did not see. I had them as a top 6 team. like I've been saying all season, I think the New York Knicks is the best team in the East until Jason Tatum comes back. I thought the Cleveland Cavaliers would have been higher, and they're now starting to climb. I thought Philadelphia 76ers with Edgecombe and Maxey, and now making Joel Embiid a third type option with Paul George and all that stuff. I liked what they was doing. Orlando, I don't know what's going on over there. I thought Orlando was going to be a top 6 team. And you can never rule out Miami Heat, right? That's how I was going into this season right here. But I never once was going to say that the Boston Celtics is not going to be a top 6 team. Stop playing with me, man. And y'all left us for dead, and that's the best thing you could do. Y'all must, the thing that people don't realize is JB is a number 1 option. JB is just a leader, bro. He understands what the team needs. And the team needs him sometimes to take a back seat to Tatum or to a White. And don't get it. There's another factor that we don't see. Because he's not loud, because he's not braggadocious, Derek White is by far one of the best guards in the game. Vision-wise, unselfish. He doesn't care about scoring. He knows when to put up that. He knows when to score at the right time. And a team coach with like Joe Mazzulla got it coached right now, you lose that haul of players and your best player and your number 2 in the East, the wide open East. I don't care how wide open you think it is. This team is well overachieving. Well overachieving. But to me, it's not really overachieving. I think this was a standard because we have Jaylen Brown. And when that man says the energy shift, then the energy shifts. You don't want to play the Boston Celtics right now. Not in the 7-game series. Not with Jaylen Brown leading the way. And then you're talking about you have the potential of adding Jason Tatum back to the fold also. I'm curious to see how it's all going to work, but like Jaylen Brown said, he had to remind even myself, like all JB and JT have done is won. All they know is winning. They know how to work with each other. So the integration part is going to be for other people to figure out. It ain't going to be for Jaylen Brown. It ain't going to be for Derek White. And how those 3 go, the rest of the team's going to go. With Crazy Joe on the bench, boy, I ain't putting nothing past him. With Sam Cassell leading the way on the defensive side of the ball, boy, let me tell you, those Boston Celtics, they're at 3 right now. It's a respectable 3 because of who you're behind, but they can make some noise when they come into this playoffs, especially if you're adding Jason Tatum. At number 2, give me the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oklahoma City Thunder, the defending champions. There's no way I was gonna push them down. They got the number 1 record overall in the entire league, the number 1 record in the West, the gauntlet of a West. Are the OKC Thunder as scary as they was before? No, you see some kinks in the armor. They dealing with some injury situations right now with their 2 best players going in and out of the lineup. Whenever I said last year, the Oklahoma City Thunder were like the Boston Celtics, where you could carry an injury, if not 2, because of how deep you were. The Boston Celtics is not in that luxury of a threshold this year around, but the Oklahoma City Thunder is still in that luxury situation where your 2 best players could be sitting out and you still could be winning. I mean, you're 42-14 in the West. I mean, there's no way I was gonna drop you lower than top 3 team. I see flaws. I see kinks in the armor. I see there's a couple teams that could, in a 7-game series, could beat you, right? And we've seen it in some of the trades and the decisions that was being made by Sam Presti and crew up over there. Sam Presti's not stupid. He understands what's going on, and he understands that he needs to bolster this roster for that playoff run in the event that you are down one of the 2 stars that you have, whatever the case may be. You want to be able to make sure that you can withstand some of these things. Like when we talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers, the only reason why they didn't make a deep run is because of injury. The New York Knicks is injury. The Boston Celtics is injury. You can only withstand so much injury with some of these rosters. But I still like the Oklahoma City Thunder at number 2. Hands down, they are by far the 2nd best team in the league, in my opinion. I don't see that changing that much as these rankings go out every week. So yeah, that's where they sit. And with the number 1 team in my lucky 7 top rankings, it's going to be the San Antonio Spurs. I think the San Antonio Spurs is, barring any crazy health issues, is by far the best team in this league. When you got the cheat code like Wemby, and then you add a whole bunch of pieces around them, and the young studs like in Castle, and you bring over De'Aaron Fox during the trades. You made key trades and maneuvered certain things around. It's like the San Antonio Spurs, as long as they stay healthy, it's hard to see who's going to be out for them. I'm not saying that they can't be beat. You could be beat. OKC can beat you. The Nuggets can beat you. There's ways that they could scheme, and other teams can scheme around you, and they can beat you. But it'll be hard because you got a 7-footer sitting right there that could stretch the floor and come on the inside, protect the rim, trail blocking you on the other side. I watched this one play where was that the San Antonio Spurs? I think it was another team, but never. So my number one team in the Lucky 7 top rankings is gonna be the San Antonio Spurs. Let's recap that. At number 7, I got the Cleveland Cavaliers. At number 6, I got the Detroit Pistons. At number 5, I got the Denver Nuggets. At number 4, I got the New York Knicks. At number 3, I got the Boston Celtics. At number 2, I got the Oklahoma City Thunder. And at number 1, I got the San Antonio Spurs. So, Kev, what that mean? With my first NBA Finals pick, I'm going with the San Antonio Spurs to represent the West. Ugh, hate saying this. And the New York Knicks to represent the East. I think right now, as it stands, depending on what matchups come, I think these are the two teams where it doesn't matter what the matchup is. They can make a run and end up in the NBA Finals. So as of right now, I am picking the San Antonio Spurs to play the New York Knicks in the NBA Finals. That's what I got. That's what I'm going with. So with that being said, let's run through these weekly picks and predictions. Like I said earlier, I went for 5-3, my best weekly record since I started doing picks of the NBA. And I'm hoping it's going to get better because now I'm actually watching the games. I'm going to look at roster constructions and who's playing who when, right? Still kind of going blind, but the dust kind of settled a little bit. Overall, I'm 25-38. So let's jump to Thursday's games. By the time you see this episode, you will be seeing these picks. I got the Pistons going to the New York Knicks. What a marquee matchup. Number 1 versus number 3. Coming out of All-Star break. I am going to take the Knicks. The Knicks is going to go on a run because they don't want to sit at number 3. They want to be that number 2, and they still looking at the situation where I could start chipping away at that number 1 seed Detroit Pistons and see what they could get, right? We're both coming out of All-Star break. Everybody's well rested. Everybody should have got some players that are dealing with some nicks and bruises come and play. And the way the Knicks closed out going to All-Star break, I feel as though that continues. And this is their perfect opportunity. So Pistons at the Knicks. You're at home, New York Knicks. All right? When it's these marquee games, you got to start showing up. This is the one. I'm taking the Knicks over the Pistons. You know I was going to pick my Celtics game. So the Celtics are playing. They starting a West Coast trip. Celtics at the Warriors. On this one, listen, JB was already out there. I'm pretty sure he stayed out there unless he flew back because the team is doing practice out here before they go back out because it would have been a whole week before then, and the case may be. We do well on the road. JB wants to continue this MVP caliber season. This is an opportunity. You don't want to go with a Warriors team that is potentially still without Curry. And, after what they did, the moves that they made during that trade deadline, no more breakdown. Give me the Celtics. Celtics versus the Warriors. Give me the Celtics. The last game I'm gonna pick for Thursday night is gonna be the Nuggets versus the Clippers. Again, this is another matchup where the Clippers, they look like they was on a trajectory. Then they did the Harden trade. They still kind of did well for themselves even since the Harden trade has happened. Hopefully Darius Garland is playing for them right now, and he actually stepping up to the plate alongside Kawhi Leonard. I think the Clippers are still a solid team in the playoffs. I think they did get um, a little bit lesser than by getting rid of Harden, my personal opinion. So Nuggets at the Clippers, give me the Nuggets. I think when you have a team that could lose the one of the best players on the planet and still stay right there, like nothing changed, I like their options better than the Clippers right now. So give me the Nuggets over the Clippers. Moving on to the Friday night games. We got the Cavs at the Hornets. This one's gonna be another like similar to the Pistons Knicks game. You got the red hot Hornets right now that everybody is like kind of like still sleeping on, but watching from a distance. Like, what are you gonna do with it? This is your first time in this situation. Cleveland Cavs, you don't want to go and be part of the lineup of this team that they're just scorching right now. Even with that being said, because it's at the Hornets, some weird things is telling me, yeah, I'm doing it. Cavs at the Hornets, give me the Hornets. Yeah, I'm sick with that one. The second game that I'm gonna pick for Friday night is gonna be the Clippers at the Lakers. Going down the road. The Clippers, you would have just been coming off of a loss to the Nuggets. I don't know if this is going to be a situation where you're going to probably rest Kawhi because it is a back-to-back situation, even though you just came off of like a week off. Maybe you don't rest Kawhi. Maybe you do rest Kawhi. I don't know if Luka's back yet. LeBron looked like he was LeBron last time going into All-Star break, and it wasn't like he played in. It wasn't like he looked any injured or anything. So with the Clippers versus the Lakers, give me the Lakers on this one at home. Saturday's matchups is gonna go between. I'm just picking one game out of this one. Rockets at the Knicks. I think the Knicks gonna stumble in this one for some reason. I think KD and them. I've been picking KD and them to win certain games, the marquee games. For some reason, they keep falling short. But this time, I think they actually do it. I think KD coming into the Garden. People love playing at the Garden. I think the Knicks are gonna be riding a high, and they're gonna keep giving my Boston Celtics the number 2 slot. So I'm taking the Rockets over the Knicks in this game. Sunday's games, I got a slot of games for you guys on Sunday. I got 6 games that I'm going to be picking on this one. Let's start off with the Cavaliers at the Oklahoma City Thunder. Depending on health, I'm going with the Thunder as of right now. But no SGA, no Wool, I'm picking the Cavs. I don't care how deep you are. James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, they're going to take care of business. But if those 2 men are back, or one of the 2 are back, I'm going to take the Thunder in that game. So as of right now, what my pick is, Cavs at Thunder, give me the Thunder. Next game that I'm picking is the Nuggets at the Warriors. I don't even know why I put this game on my slot. I'm just looking for easy wins, to be completely honest. I got the Nuggets over the Warriors on this one. Even if Curry comes back, I don't think that the Warriors have enough. I think they're a playing team the way they're constructed right now. You can never sleep on Steph or Draymond. I think Draymond is by far one of the highest IQs in the game outside of LeBron James. And it's probably even just as high as LeBron James, to be completely honest. If you ask me, I don't care for his antics half the damn time, but I'm a big Draymond fan. I think, yeah, but I'm still not picking you guys over the Nuggets. Give me the Nuggets on that game. Celtics at the Lakers, game 2 of their West Coast trip. I think the last game that they played was on Wednesday night. This will be a marquee game for them, hanging out in LA. But Lakers is gonna want to step up and show out. Again, we don't know where Luka's situation is. Still doesn't scare me. I'm taking the Celtics over the Lakers, even when Luka comes back, even when you got LeBron James. I just think what JB got going on right now, and his lead, and the way the rest of these guys are going, is it gonna be a matchup? It'll definitely be a matchup. But I'm taking the Celtics still over the Lakers. 76ers versus the Wolves. The 76ers are at the Wolves. I just watched Ant-Man, And if he keeps playing with that same enthusiasm and that same killer instinct that I just saw in the All-Star game, because he said it best. I don't. A lot of us don't get to see those some of these West Coast teams play, so it's hard for us to be jumping on certain bandwagons or whatever the case may be. So I'm still going to take the Wolves over the 76ers, even though I'm an Edgecombe fan and I like that backcourt of him and Maxey. Embiid being the third option, he still is Embiid. So, but I'm still going to take the Wolves on that one. Embiid don't like playing against other big men, and Gobert's going to give him fits in the middle. So, yeah, so that means Ant-Man's going to take over. Blazers versus the Suns. It's not one of those games that you would normally pick, but again, this is one of those where I'm trying to steal a easy win here. I'm going with the Suns over the Blazers in this game. And then another matchup that I've seen is Magic at the Clippers. Like I said earlier, I feel what the Magic should have been way better than they actually are, but for some reason they keep struggling. I don't know what it is, but I'm taking the Clippers in this game. It would have been the Clippers' last game would have been on Friday. This is on Sunday. Especially if you rest Kawhi earlier on, you probably playing Kawhi in that Friday night game and probably resting him in this Sunday game. But we'll see. I'm still gonna take the Clippers over the Magic because they just can't figure it out. And moving into Monday, I'm only picking one game on this one. It's the Spurs versus the Pistons. This is one of those situations where I feel as though, like I said, the Spurs to me is by far one of the best teams, the number one team on my Lucky 7 list this week. But I still feel as though you can beat the Spurs team similar to the OKC team. It's all in how you scheme for certain things. And knowing JB Bickerstaff, he's probably not going to show you everything and anything because he knows there's a potential of you guys playing each other in the NBA Finals. I still think the Pistons are going to pull this one out because you're in Detroit. And thus my weekly picks for this week in the weekly picks and predictions in the lineup. All right, guys, let's start to wrap it up. It's time for me to go on a couple rants. I got 4 of them. How much time I got left here? All right, let's try to keep this to 5 minutes. 5 minutes, all right? Number one rant that I'm going to go down real quick is going to be Giannis Antetokounmpo. You know what? You recently had this interview with Malika Andrews, this safe interview that I call it, right? I don't like safe interviews where it's like it's all softball questions where they're making you look good and feel good and not really answering the actual questions. Like there was actual real questions that could have been asked. I don't know what PR move this was for you and ESPN, and let's throw Malika out there because, oh my God, Giannis wants to talk to us, and let's send Malika to keep it safe and PC, and make him feel good. Man, fuck that. You out here, you got a chance to ask this man some legitimate questions and you just don't ask the questions. And Giannis, stop lying. When you waited till after the trade deadline and then start talking about you're a buck for life, brother, stop, man. You're a competitor and you see the writings on the wall. Yes, you are loyal. I am not going to take away from Giannis. I believe he is truly loyal to the Milwaukee Bucks and he wants to be a buck for life. Wants to be and actually wanting to winning is two different things. You could want to be a buck for life, but still realize that I'm not going to win another championship here. And you talking to me about stakes and all this other stuff. Like, my question to you, if I'm Malika sitting in front of you, why are we not saying, yo, okay, so you're saying that you want to be a buck for life, and all these rumors are coming out that you want to be leaving, you're in trade talks. You never shut these things down. But the moment the trade deadline's over, that's when you want to come out and start talking about, whatever your cryptic tweak was to try to clean up the situation. Bro, you wanted to leave. You didn't shut it down. The Bucks didn't shut it down. So you mean to tell me we're all stupid over here? You wanted to be a buck for life. You had nothing to do with that situation. No, you saw that you didn't get moved, and now all of a sudden you're playing cleanup game because you're the nice guy, you're the good guy, which you are. You're definitely one of the good guys in the league. You're definitely one of the nicest guys in the league. I love how you interact with the reporters. You have fun with this situation, but own up to your shit, bro. It's the same thing that I have with LeBron James. Sometimes just say the truth. You want it out, but you couldn't get the league. The teams didn't put a good enough offer. And to be honest, if I'm the Milwaukee Bucks, I'm not trying to move you right now in season anyways. I want to see what the draft order is going to be. I want to see what these picks are worth. I want to see what players I could get from you, because moving you, I want to haul. And clearly, if I move you, I'm in a reset mode. So I'm looking for picks and young players. And if you don't got that, I ain't moving it. You wait till free agency, brother. Or you're going to have to come out in the public and say, I want out. I'm not going to do the dirty work for you. And shame on you, Malika, for Andrews, for not asking the right questions. As a reporter, ask the questions. Ask the tough questions and hold these players accountable. They're either going to say yes or they're going to say no. We can't be afraid to ask the questions, because they're never going to talk to us again. Guess what? You did your job. Your credibility is still there. In other news, Malika Andrews did stop after All-Star game and talked with Ant-Man, and she did her job then. You know what I mean? So it's like, I got to give credit where credit is due, because she asked Ant some great questions, and, talked about facing KD and what that's like. And then she brought up the question again about the face of the league stuff. Honestly, I'm tired of hearing about the face of the league stuff. But the question that was asked is, hey, you said one time they had Wemby for that. Well, now that we're in the format of the world versus US, well, can't Wemby be the face for the international players and you be the face for the American players? And he answered truthfully, and that's what I love to hear. A good journalistic question and a truthful answer. He was like, I'm for that. I'm for it. He didn't shy away. He didn't do that. And then he didn't be braggadocious about it. He didn't, when she said, oh, and if it's you, he's like, if I get there. Because to be completely honest, this face of the league stuff, it's just going to happen organically, bro. It's like Michael Jordan didn't go and say, I'm going to be the face of the league. He just became the face of the league. Kobe Bryant didn't say, I'm going to be the face of the league. He became it. LeBron James came with all types of expectations, and he stayed and he lived up to those expectations. Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Dr. J. You say these names and they're synonymous. These guys played before I could even really be a fan of the sport. And I still know them because of what they did on the court. The court production play. And listen, the fans, these young fans, they're going to gravitate towards the cool player. But fans, they're going to dictate who this player, the face of the league, is by the product that you put on the court. Ant-Man is undeniably talented as fuck. He could single-handedly take a game over. But he has not gotten to that promised land yet. I'm not saying that you can't be a face without winning championships, but you look at that list of people that I just said, they're winners. You ain't being the face. This ain't the NFL where they're delusional with the Dallas Cowboys as America's team. I don't want to associate with a team that can't win. You ain't done shit since the 90s, bro. I was still pedaling my bikes down on Almar Street in Mattapan when you was actually relevant, when people was like, there was an aura around you. You ain't America's team. That means we a bunch of losers out here? My man Jaylen Brown, we all know, is always the type to be stepping outside of the box. I don't understand why stepping outside of the box and speaking up for certain things that you believe in and you feel, and you're not disrespecting nobody along the way, you're not degrading anybody along the way, you don't make anybody feel like they're less than along the way, You're putting up your own bread. You're putting up your money, your money where your mouth is. You're creating brands. You're creating jobs. You're creating opportunity. You're speaking about injustices. You're speaking about all types of things that as human beings we should be doing. And he has a platform to do so. And even with him being crucified left and right, and you don't want to vote him in on anything unless you necessarily have to, where he's giving you no option but to choose him. And this man puts on an event, not a party, puts on an event about moving the culture forward, talking about business, leadership, in a time where everybody is throwing massive parties. That's the one on the block that you decide to shut down over claims of permits. Over permit, were you checking everybody on that block? You checked their permits. Everybody in Beverly Hills, you was checking their permits to know that these things got to be shut down because they don't got the right permits. This is a sponsored event. This is not no private party type situation. And JB's not even that party type of person, bro. He's trying to do the right thing as a human being in society. And you shut him down while there's a bunch of other stupid shit happening all weekend long of useless nonsense. Everybody doing shit for the fucking gram. But this man trying to do better for the human race. That's the one that you decide that you're going to shut down. All right, Beverly Hills PD. Shame. And this is not even a Boston thing. This is just a human thing, bro. Of all the things that you could have been doing and shutting down, that's what you chose to shut down. And I don't even know the full details of the situation because, again, Jaylen Brown does not move like that. When Jaylen Brown is doing an event, it's something that is going to curate or develop or get your mind thinking about certain things. It's not no aimless party, bro. It sucks. That man put up his personal bread and just like that evaporated. For no reason. I'm gonna leave it at that, man. Jaylen Brown, keep doing your best of things, man. With all your foundation work, with 741, with everything that you're doing, they're only gonna keep targeting you because you doing things outside of the norm, and I respect the fuck out of it. And my last one, it's not even a rant. It's just something that I see and I want to start putting out there right now. Now that I'm focused on the NBA. Joe Mazzulla, Coach of the Year. There's teams that are doing great things right now. I think JB Bickerstaff turning around the Detroit Pistons and holding on to that number one seed. The OKC could be right back in that situation. The Spurs, come on now. You're the one team to keep beating down on the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Denver Nuggets, you don't miss a beat with when you lose arguably one of the best players in the world. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of teams out there, the New York Knicks, Mike Brown, but nobody can say that they honestly thought that the Boston Celtics was going to be the number 2 team in the East. One game difference of where we were at last year when we had an all-star cast with our best player, with our best player playing inside our dual pillars of the J brothers. Nobody's seen this. You're talking about doing less with more? And to be competitive when everybody said that you was not even, this is supposed to be a gap year. This is a year where you hit the reset button. And Brad Stevens actually did hit the reset button financially, but yet nothing changed. And then you have the opportunity to still add another top 5 all-pro player to the situation who already knows how to play with your number 1 option right now, who already knows how to make it work with Derek White and all that stuff. You're not getting KP back. You're not getting Drew Holiday back. You're not getting Al Horford back. Our roster is our roster right now. And you're telling me we're the number 2 team? If that ain't Coach of the Year, guys, I don't know what is. Now, they gave it to Vrabel. I would love to see two Coach of the Years in one city. Give me a little bit something more to brag about. You know what I mean? That being said, that's the end of my rants, man. Giannis, speak your truth. Malika, ask the better questions. Dual face of the league is cool. LA, do better. JB, keep doing your thing. Joe Mazzulla, coach of the year. Go ahead and subscribe to Please Excuse My Balls. If you like this episode, follow us on social media and tell me where I went wrong. Till then, go debate yourself. I said what I said and I meant it. Peace.